Okay, the episode starts off with the Smutneys and Atherita coming home from school, and they're celebrating Atherita party. This is coming off of, Ken and Lloyd coming to their house. And I love the fact that the brow made the cake perfect again, because she told Lloyd that she would get that little boy Zero some cookies, not no goddamn piece of cake. But I digress. Anyhow, I love how she put it back together, and she made both of them, both her parents, made the best out of the situation and put on a happy face to celebrate her 17th birthday. And we see Atherita coming home from off of what she went through in school, and how she just almost lost it, and how she had to sell her auntie out to the U.S. Marshal. And we see all of them, like, as they embrace, they just, just the stress that they're carrying of the stuff that they're all going through. So they're all singing, Mr. and Mrs. Smutney is singing happy birthday to Atherita, and Atherita blows out her candles, and we see a ghost. And y'all, I don't even like ghosty stories, but I'm gonna hang with this because it's not about ghosts, so I'm gonna hang with it. And it scared the shit out of me, because y'all know they got that mortuary under them, so this is kind of spooky here. Okay, y'all. Up next is Twitchy. So we see Twitchy coming home, and he got a knock before he get in the house. I tell you, my nerves is worked every time I see him doing all this. But he knocks 5 times before he enters his home. And he goes in, before he even get to the bathroom, he neatly throws his coat on a chair. And he sees his little figurine is pointing, I guess, east, and it's supposed to be west. So he fixed it, put it back to west, and off in the bathroom he goes, and he's using the bathroom, and he just stopped the thing, like, someone's in here, and before you know it, is one of Cannon guys that jumps from out of the tub, and he took the shower curtain and wraps it around Twitchy's head, like, so he can't breathe. And he tackles him down to the ground. And Lloyd's guy has this serious chokehold on Twitchy, so much so that I thought he killed him. He had a death grip around his neck. So in comes Lloyd, and here goes Otis. It wasn't me who ordered the raid. It wasn't me. It was the Italians. I was only doing what they told me to do. And I can get your money back. So Lloyd like, just keep the money. I ain't worried about that. I'm losing this war, Otis. People I trust is being taken away from me, and things that I earned. You see, I'm just not fighting a few Italians. I'm fighting 400 years of history. I'm fighting a mindset. Lloyd walks over to Otis' figurine collection, and he asks Otis, you love these dolls, don't you? Imagine if these dolls rose up and became citizens of this apartment, and they asked for civil rights and equality. You might say, fuck these dolls. I'ma crush these dolls. But that's your mindset. Lloyd was trying to get Otis to understand Lloyd's mindset and his position in all this. He tells Otis, like, look, you may think that the Italians own you, but you don't know how it feels to actually be owned, to be property. Until now, I'm losing this war, and you're going to help me win it, or I'm going to put you in the ground. And he asks this Twitchy, is that understood? And Twitchy has no other choice but to go along with it. Lloyd tells him that we're going to be in touch. And outside of Otis' building, we see Marshall Duffy being nosy. I told you his name should have been Nosy, watching as Cannon is leaving out of Duffy's apartment. And he's just taking all of this in, just sitting there being nosy watching. Okay, over at Gaetano's. So Gaetano and Pablo is just sitting conversing about. Pablo was talking about how Gaetano is pissed off about the doctor being killed. And I guess that's why Gaetano was sitting there stabbing this mannequin because he's mad at Justo for being mad at him for putting the hit out on Dr. Senator. And they're just talking, and through the window, he could see a car pulling up with two women getting out the cars, Delmere and Swanee. And they're both, in their finest, best dressed, looking sexy. And they get past the men, and they're in the house. So next thing you know, you just hear commotion, screaming and yelling. So at that point, it puts Pablo and Gaetano on point. So Pablo grab his gun and go down and see what the commotion is. So next thing you know, you just hear gunfire. And through the vent, you can see the light from the gun activity flashing through the vent. So this has Gaetano shook. So he grabbed his gun and he's just listening, and then we hear footsteps coming towards the door. And we see the doorknob turn, and Gaetano just shoot through the door 6 or 7 times. And as the door opened, we noticed that it's Pablo that he shot. And Pablo's just standing there, poor thing. When he opened the door, he just collapsed on the floor. He's dead. And I feel for Pablo because I believe him and Antoine didn't come to America for necessarily, the life of crime. When they were home fighting the war, I think it was for a total different reason. When they were fighting in Italy, I think it was about communism and fashionism and things like that. It wasn't just about, a crime family and one family making it and then you just the goons. No, it wasn't like that. But Gaetano kills him by mistake, but nevertheless, he's dead. And it's just sad. And Gaetano just so tough, but he doesn't even think to do, make sure he's shooting the right person. He's just a clown. He's just a goofy, and that's why I call him dumb. Next, we see Swanee coming from behind Gaetano, and Zelmir is coming from behind, coming up the steps, coming in towards Gaetano. And Gaetano quickly loaded his gun, so he think he got the advantage. And he's about to, bust off on Zelmir. And Swanee just shoots him in the back of the ear. And he falls to the ground. So Zelmir you had to shoot him? Swanee he big as a house. I didn't know what else to do. What else was I going to do? So they drags him out of the house on the carpet that he was laying on. And they gets him over to Cannon's house. Gaetano regains his consciousness, and he's sitting, he wakes up and he sees Lloyd. So Gaetano oh, shit. Lloyd get the rambling about boxing and a boxing legend. And he says to Gaetano, look, you can say your whole life was a series of mistakes, but the mistake that's going to cost you your life is a mistake with Dr. Senator. So Gaetano looks up at him and he just busts out laughing as to say, bring it on, because he just realized that they're going to, torture him and beat him up. And this is the cost of Dr. Senator. Okay, next we got Orietta and Dr. Harvard. Dr. Harvard pulled Orietta up in his office to discuss an anonymous letter he received in the mail from someone claiming that they used to work with Orietta. So he asked Orietta, do you attend your patients' funerals? And Orietta said, yeah, that's a Christian thing to do. Dr. Harvard said, well, someone written me from your last job saying that maybe that we need to look farther into your behavior from your last job. For instance, do you keep souvenirs of your dead patients? So Orietta's like, excuse me, what are you saying? Dr. Harvard said, what I'm saying is because confiscating any possessions of any patient is a crime. Orietta's like, look, I am the highest Christian. I can barely even spell crime. May I see this letter for myself? Dr. Harvard said, no. Orietta said, well, can I at least know the name of this sender? And Dr. Harvard said, well, it's anonymous. Orietta said, well, there you have it. It's done cowardly. It's done by a coward. It's a cowardly act by a cowardly person. Somebody that's probably jealous. So Dr. Harvard said, you know what? You're right. It's y'all women is a trip with y'all petty fighting and two women cat fighting. This is just a mess. And as he's rambling on, we see Orietta just, she leaves us in her mind and she's just focusing on that letter, trying to see the handwriting or see if she can see anything else extra. And she's just fixated on that. Her mind is elsewhere right now. Dr. Harvard said it does seem like jealousy to me, but I'm just going to hold on to this, and I do have to report it to Human Resources. So Orietta, like, please, no, this is my reputation. Just imagine if this was you and someone just wrote this stuff with, baseless claims, no reference to go behind. When you call Alan Sneed, did you not check my reference? Dr. Harvard said, I did. And Orietta said, well, did he give you any cause for hesitation? Did he not tell you that I'm like Florence Nightingale? Dr. Harvard said, he did. And then he says, okay, Orietta. Okay, Mrs. Mayflower, you convinced me. I'm convinced. For now, we'll just keep this between us. And as he's putting the letter in his drawer, like Orietta she's fixed on that letter. She's following where the letter is. So they shake on it and he tells Orietta, go back to your duties. And he says, look, no more funerals. So he's telling her that she cannot attend any more of her patients' funerals. Okay, up next we got Justo meeting up with Ebel. And Ebel was coming back from New York. And Justo is trying to join the mob. So Justo was so anxious to hear what the mob had told Ebel. So Ebel said, look, they said, yeah, they'll back you up under two conditions. One is that you fix the problem with the cannon crew. So Justo like, wait, what? Like, fix how? Like, kill him? And Ebel like, well, fix one way or the other. And then Calamita comes over. And he's talking to Justo like, boss. And Justo is brushing him off like, are you serious right fucking now? He like, boss, they took your brother. Well, who took my brother? The Mulligan. And they killed Pablo. Justo like, so my brother's dead. Calamita said, look, I don't know, but this is coming off of the doctor senator. Apple was like, what happened to the doctor? He looks at Justo like, you ordered this execution? Justo like, no, that was my dumbass brother Gaetano and this dumb motherfucker here, Calamita. And it really don't matter because, what's done is done. Now they gonna kill my brother. Anyway, what else did New York say? Calamita like, boss, we gotta go after Gaetano. Justo gonna tell him, shut up, he's gone. And Apple said, well, they said if you want to be boss, you have to make things right with your brother. So now Justo is like, fuck, because, whole time they has this Cain and Abel relationship. And Justo been wanting to get rid of Gaetano. He just didn't know how and when. So this situation with Lloyd taking Gaetano out, that was perfect for Justo. Justo didn't have to do it himself. And Gaetano will be gone. He will be free of him. Well, not anymore because you want to be boss. So you have to do what New York is telling you to do. Okay, next up is Lloyd. He's sitting there at his desk pondering a conversation that him and Dr. Senator had about getting Satchel back. And Dr. Senator was warning Lloyd, if he get Satchel back now, if he demands Satchel back from the Italians now, that it will be a World War III. Lloyd has one of his men to bring in Twitchy in the room that Gaetano was in. And so Twitchy come through the door like, you need to tell them that I'm a police officer. They just can't come and grab me up in broad daylight. So Lloyd like, yeah, look, I'm going to tell you what. What you going to do for me is you going to go over to them Italians and you going to get my son and you going to bring him back. Officer Otis is like, no. Lloyd said, look, I'm going to kill that fat wop in the next room, but I can't do it until I get my son back. Twitchy like, how I'm supposed to do that? Lloyd said, well, you the law, ain't you? Just walk in there and grab him. Badge, gun, whatever it takes. Twitchy like, look, this is insane. And Lloyd said, look, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. Bye. Okay, so Twitchy pulls up to the Fodder family home. And he is just a rat. He's 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians. And he is just working his way up to go inside this house and take this child. Okay, so he's in the house and Satchel is sitting down with Rabbi doing lessons, I guess, in the living room this time. They're not cooped up in the attic. And we see Twitchy going back and forth in his head of how he's going to do this. And then Calamita comes behind him and he startles Otis and he's like, Calamita like, you're in the wrong place. So Otis is like, huh? What? He said, yeah, the boss, he wants me to bring you down. He said he wants you dead or alive. Otis is like, oh shit, he know I'm fucking with Cannon Crew. And Calamita was like, just joking. But the Brown boys do have Gaetano, so now it's wartime. Let's go. Okay, next we have Jasto and Ebel talking, and Ebel told him at 3 o'clock he's going to make the trade-off. So he like, just trade for my brother, like give him whatever they want. And Ebel like, look, this is what New York want. You have to, if you want to be a boss, you have to do these things. They want you to make it right with your brother. So as Apple is saying this stuff, Calamita enters the Jasto's office with Otis. And Jasto goes up to Otis and asks him how his face got bruised. And he said a donkey kicked him. And so Apple was like, what is this donkey? So Otis says, like hee-haw. Otis is nervous I don't know what. Like, he don't know why. He's not even sure why he's in Jasto's office. Remember, he was supposed to be going over there to get Satchel, like Lloyd told him to do. And Calamita just so happened to see him and was like, no, you at the wrong place. You were supposed to go see him, the boss, down at the office. Otis is also in a position now where he's working with the Fodder family and the Cannon crew is going get ready to go to war, and he is, playing both sides. Not so much that he's playing both sides, but he got himself in a position where, he has to play both sides, but he's so pussy that he can't stand up to, either he's going to go with Cannon or he's going to go with the Fodder family. He's too pussy to make that decision for himself. Okay, so Jasto asks Otis, like, you get rid of that U.S. Marshal yet? Otis like, no, not yet. So Jasto like, well, give him his slip because it's all hands on deck. It's a war out here and I need all hands on deck. So Otis said, meaning? And Jasto said, the colors, they got my brother and I need to find them. Now, remember, Otis done seen Gaetano and the Cannon's crew over there with them. So he know exactly where Gaetano is. Twitchy is finding himself in a entanglement. Jasto gave Twitchy until 2:30 to find Gaetano. Now, Abel told him, like, you don't have time for all of this. I set up a meeting for 3 o'clock. Abel is trying to be level-headed and trying to do this so it won't get nasty. So here comes Calamita with his 2 cents. Like, no, we shouldn't make a deal because Gaetano wouldn't want us to do that. He wouldn't want us to make a deal. So Abel asked Calamita, like, what's wrong with you? Why are you acting like this towards the family? So Calamita, like, this is war, and this is what happens in war. And Abel is like, well, in war, a soldier must learn how to take orders. So Calamita feels like Cannon and them is not playing by the rules. And now if they give in, it's like they're going to have everything. Justo cuts in and he asks Calamita, whose side are you on? Calamita looking stupid like, huh? What, boss? So Justo like, yeah, last time I checked, I was the boss. But you're taking orders from everyone else but me. So Calamita like, you know, boss, I knew you since you was a baby. So Justo said, do I look like a baby to you? Right, Justo. Age ain't nothing but a number. Don't get it fucked up. If I'm the boss, that's what it is. I don't care if you was my mama. Look at here, mama. I run this shit over here. Justo tells Abel to get Calamita out of there and remind him what loyalty really is, to send in Antune. Antune comes in and Justo tells him to go by the house to grab Rabbi, tell Rabbi to come on down and see him, and to take Satchel on a ride. Now, Antune is one of the people that came from Italy with Gaetano, and I think he's a good man at heart. Like I said, whatever they had for in Italy is totally different from up here, and he don't want to do that. You can see it all in his face. He's making up excuses, and he's asking, what will happen to Zero? They will kill him. And Justo like, well, yep, that'll be unfortunate. Well, boss, what about New York? Don't they want you to work it out with your brother? Justo like, they said try, and I tried. But it's not my fault that Calamita tried. He went with the wrong person. So Antune is like, Calamita? Justo like, look, just do what I say, and that's it. Is that how people are in so deep that they can't stand up for themselves? Okay, so Antune gets to the house. He tells Rabbi that the boss want to see you. So Rabbi asks, the kid too? Antune is like, no, he said you specifically. So Rabbi tells Satchel to be good, that if he doesn't come back, and Satchel like, I know, you either dead or in jail. So Satchel asks if he can finish watching the TV, and Antune's wife was like, yeah, that's fine. I'll make sure he get upstairs fine. So, okay, Rabbi off to go see Justo. Antune goes in the room and the kids is just happy to see him. You know how kids are when they're happy when their parents home from work. So they're excited, and he tells Satchel, get your coat, we're going for a ride. So the kids is like, yeah, we're going for a ride. So he's like, no, not y'all, just Satchel. And he said it in a mean way to where his wife was like, well, what's wrong with you? They're just happy to see you. They don't see you often in the daytime. And Antune is like, you ever wonder how it would be if they just sent me back to the old country? So his wife is like, what is wrong with you? He was like, nothing. I'm just doing my job. And he looks at Satchel and she gets it like, oh my gosh, he has to kill this little boy. He tells his wife not to wait up for him, and off he goes on a ride with Satchel. Next, we see Orietta at work, and the patient is driving her crazy, and also she's replaying the interview that she had with Dr. Harvard. It's driving her crazy that someone is onto her and she don't have a clue who it is. So with that, on top of this man groaning and moaning, it's driving this weird ass bitch crazy, and she's sitting in the corner banging her head against the wall like a weird ass bitch. So Rabbi comes and he meets up with Justo, and Justo said, you're back in. Go upstairs to Abel, and he's going to give you further instructions. So Rabbi's like, the kid? Justo says, oh, the kid is done. And he walks away. Rabbi has taken a liking to Satchel, and Satchel grew on him. You know, he been taking care of Satchel since he been there. And also, he kept a promise to Lloyd that he would protect him. So Rabbi rushed back to the house, and he busts in, and he's yelling for Satchel. And Antoine's wife is sitting there because she know what's going on, and he come down and he point the gun at her. He like, where's the kid at? And she's not saying nothing. And a bodyguard comes. He shoot the bodyguard. He's like, where is she? Where is Antoine? And she tells him Antoine had went far out to the spot that the Americans took prisoners of war. He was telling Satchel his story and how he felt like the American sun healed him and made him grow stronger because he was very weak and frail, and how he carved his name on his piece of stone, and he asked Satchel to go down to the stone. And as Satchel was looking, he pointed the gun at Satchel, but then he started hearing his kids' voices, and it hit him that I can't do this. So he goes to put the gun away, and then Rabbi comes from behind him and shoot and kills Antoine. I'm like, damn, that was a second too late. So he tell Satchel, come on, it's time to go. It's wartime, and I'm going to hide you. I'm going to take you somewhere until this boil's over, and if you want to come back, I'll bring you back. If you don't want to come back, that's fine too. So up the road they go. And lastly, we're back at the hospital with Orietta. And we hear that the moaning has stopped, and a big smile is on Orietta's face. She is so twisted. So we see that she has more than likely killed that man and sent him into eternal peace. Well, that's it for this episode, and I'll see you guys for the next.